All right, moving on to the next one. So we had a question about learning from past mistakes and being better on a new team. You're going to have the chance to reinvent yourself as a person, as a man. Like, obviously, if you like completely change your personality all the time, people are going to think you're disingenuous and you're not a real person, right? But I liken this to PCSing, or when you leave one team to go to a new team. You have a really good chance to essentially reinvent yourself, who you want to be as an operator, who you want to be as a person, who you want to be as a teammate. You have a chance to learn from those past mistakes, and you're not ever going to start from a fresh slate, right? Like, you're never going to show up and, people know your name. You're going to have these relationships that you built, but even starting in the pipeline, you get to decide who you want to be almost every day. You get to show up and you can be like, hey, I screwed this up yesterday. I'm not going to screw this up today. When you transfer over to a new team, like when you PCS, if you're a combat control candidate and you're getting ready to PCS from San Antonio over to Fort Liberty in North Carolina, when you show up to Fort Liberty, those instructors don't have day-to-day interaction with you. Those teammates that you're going to be on team with, it might be a completely different group of people. It might be the same sort of people that you were with in some sort of mix, right? But you get to learn from those past mistakes. If you're doing a good job and taking inventory and taking the feedback, especially that your teammates will give you, because your teammates will give you feedback. Sometimes it sounds like, hey, you suck. Like, you need to, hey, you're a dick. You need to stop doing this stuff.
And not in a toxic way either. I'm talking about it's legitimate feedback. Hey, you really boloed that.
Right.
You really need to do X, Y, and Z and fix this, because you cannot keep going and doing whatever that is that you messed up. You got to stop, or you got to revector. It's not toxic.
Yeah. And if you take that feedback and if you listen, you really listen to your teammates, you can make yourself a better person. You have a chance to become better, and be like every single PCS, every single new team, deployments are always a good time to reset, because you're down range, you're doing the job, you've cut, all of these things. That's why guys love deploying, by the way, is because all this home station stuff, senior leader emails, PowerPoints, CBTs, like you're as current as you're ever going to be. You're as greened up as you're ever going to be. Like, you don't have to do, there's rules when we deploy. Like, you don't have to do silly, one-off training events to keep yourself green. You don't have to do your, what you guys used to do when you guys got demo? It was the burn calculations. You guys would be doing like math problems in the team room and stuff. like that's why people love deploying so much, is because you're only focused on the job. All the other stuff kind of goes away. Man, that's an awesome time, number one, to get in the best shape of your life. If you're doing it correctly, your battle rhythm, because man, there's no distractions. If you're actually deploying to a place that you're doing real work, there ain't fast food there. You're not drinking. You're sitting with your friends. You can't just go out and Peaches can't order a Papa John's pizza on base at 8:00 at night and house it.
We got to make sure that we release that episode then before this one, because nobody's going to know what we're talking about.
People aren't going to get nobody ever knows what we're talking about. People aren't going to get the Peaches Eats Pizza joke. But yeah, so that's a great time. Like, as long as you're taking that feedback, you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. That's what growing as a person is. That's what being a better person is. It's totally okay. And this is going to be a wild thing. It is totally okay to look at in your past and just cringe, and just look at the things that you've done and go, oh my God, I cannot believe it. Newsflash, I look back in my past and sometimes it is a physical reaction of me going, oh my God, I am such an idiot. But that's good. That's a good thing. And you can then avoid those, and if you really think about it, not just like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible person, and turn it into this negative self-talk, but more like, what were the events that led up to that? How do I avoid that in the future? And how do I be better?
Yeah. It's, deployments are fantastic.
Yeah.
Good nutrition. If you have any kind of vices, like, you're drinking too much, or you found yourself that you're drinking too much or whatever, or, again, Papa John's pizza,
baby. They make it too convenient.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that's the issue.
Exactly.
Then it's a great place. And that is a part of the deployment for sure. Other than hey, you get a chance to do your job because you spent, depending on where you fall into the AFSO gen cycle rather, you've been training for this. So you get to go down there and actually get after it. Yeah. Man, I keep hitting my mic.
All right.